What's going on, everybody? I know it's been a while since I posted a video. Just had a lot of things I was dealing with, but I decided to take you guys on a service call with me today. I ran across an alligator, caught a couple of bass, and all while I'm doing what I like to do, working on whatever I'm working on at the moment. Anyway, today we're diagnosing a leaking AC system. So this is a 1.5-ton Goodman 14-seat heat pump. You can tell all that information from our model number. And the inside is a front drawer, 1.5-ton air handler. You can probably hear the hissing. I don't know if you can or not, but I can hear the hissing, so I already know it's a leak there. I'm not going to spray it down right now. We're going to get into all of that later. So right here in the line set is where I'm going to make my cuts. It's going to be 2 screws. We're going to pull those out when we're done and just go ahead and pull that coil out of there. But right now I'm going to go outside, hook up my gauges just to see what we have. With the unit not running, I have 213 PSIG, and a couple of minutes later, 209. So confirming that we have a leak. So I'm going to get all of my refrigerant out of the system. I have all of my hoses hooked up, bled my lines out. So I'm just going to open up the valve on my tank, go ahead and kick my pump on and start pulling that refrigerant out. I'm going to vacuum it down. I'm going to pull it down, not all the way to 0, but I'm going to get it down close to it. I don't want to get pumping air into my tank or through my pump. So just let that go. Watch your gauges. The gauge should match relatively close to the manifold. So after we get all of that refrigerant out, we're not using the bucket and water method, guys, but go inside, make my cuts, undo my screws, pull that coil out. It has a lot of gum and glue at the bottom. I guess they put that in there from the manufacturer's installation or whatever they put this thing together. So we're going to take that out, put that in the box. We're going to use that later on. Just do a little bit of diagnostics. But get our new one in, make our cuts, put our couplings where we want them at. Then we're going to pull out that torch and we're going to braze this thing in. So we always want to braze with nitrogen. Run nitrogen through the system. A little bit less than like 2.5 PSI on the flow. But got that inspection mirror out, checking my joints, make sure they look good, how I want them to look. I try to do this right on the first time. This time I did it right on the first time. Every time is not the same, but anyway, go ahead and pump that thing with some nitrogen. I like anything above 350, so I have this one sitting at like 352. We're gonna let that sit for a little while. You can check your joints with some bubble leak if you want, see what you got. But I'm gonna let this sit. I brought my fishing rod with me today, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw a top water lure and see what I can get a couple of these lakes. And of course, as always, I struck a couple bass. Not no trophies, but just something to play with.
Nice clean
Got a
bass.
couple small ones.
Baby boom, we're going after it.
Like I said, the thing is just having fun, doing what you like to do while you're working. So anyway, let's get back to our project. I'm gonna take the old coil, grab my swedging tool, the piece of tubing that I cut off of the new coil. I'm going to braze it and mount it on our old coil with that Schrader valve port, because we are going to charge this thing up so we can actually pinpoint and locate the leak. See if I can show it to you guys. So after I got that brazed on my high side line, I just went ahead and pinched it, sealed that off. Just checking everything, make sure that it's good and nice and closed system. Unscrew this right there. I'm going to put this O-ring back in there. I took it out because when you're brazing, that heat will melt it. So let's go back and check on our unit, see how our pressures is holding. It's about an hour later after all of the little fun and games. We still sitting at 352, so we look good. I mean, it's good enough for me. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and let's go into a vacuum. So I want to vacuum. I like to vacuum. You're supposed to vacuum your systems under 500 microns, so we're gonna let that run. Some pumps will get it there faster than others, depending on what hoses you're using. If you take the cores out, everybody has their different methods. I've tried them all. So after I get to that point, purge my lines again, and I'm gonna start adding some gas. So you're waiting for that click you're gonna hear, and that click is our Freon triggering our low pressure switch. So after that happens, we can actually turn around and hit our breaker. I'm already calling for AC inside the house. So once we hit that breaker on, condenser unit's kicking on, and I'm slowly gonna add gas to get this unit to dial it in to get exactly where I want. Depending on the unit that you're working on, whether it's a TXV or a piston, you'll dial it in based off of your superheat or your subcooling. And most units have a chart on the inside of one of these panels. But yeah. So as I'm working it, I have, I'm gonna fix that. That's definitely not my work. But up top here, my gauges, that's your low side pressure, that's your high side pressure. And I do have my clamps on there. So our T2 is giving me my line temperature from this clamp here, my high side, and my T1 is going to be my low side temperature. And that number right there, that -15, is going to be the difference between the two. So I like the S-Mans. They're pretty good. They can dial you in. Got a little light button on there. You can scroll through, do all of your refrigerants. Has a ton of refrigerants. Not sure, never used all of them, but it'll give me my coil temperature. Right now I'm sitting at like 41, but of course, you want to let these units run for a while. On a new startup, let them run for a while, let all the pressure settle, seeing what you have. I like my coil sitting around about like 44, but we'll go ahead and dial it in. So fix that armor flex up. I love these I love the valves because you can turn them in. That allows the Freon to go through. You back them out, that will shut it off before you take them off of the ports. Literally nothing comes out. I think these gauges are made by these hoses are made by CPS. They're about $160. I lost the gaskets trying to clean them out, so this yellow hose I'm using a quick connect. So CPS is going to send me out a brand new hose because these gaskets are very hard to come by. I couldn't find them anywhere, so one of my hoses I'm waiting to get replaced. But they're very good hoses. I love the fill piece too. So it's been getting the job done for me. I'm using a quick charge on my low side. So pretty much I'm gonna go ahead. I'm almost where I want to be. Dial that thing in. Pulling heat off the top. There's our water. That's where I caught those bass at. But fishing rod all put up. So let that unit run for a little while. I'm getting a 26-degree difference. It's looking good. I'm gonna hit it with a tad bit more Freon, but we're about to wrap up here. Keep it moving. I have one other call. Somebody called me about. I have to stop in there and check them out. But overall, yeah, job is going smooth. Those are my field pieces. I haven't been using them. I've been using them for like 2 years now, so I'm not a master at them, but I know how to get the job done. So back in my garage. So I'm gonna have to figure out where this leak is coming from just to confirm it. I've replaced a lot of these, so I'm pretty sure it was a leak. I know it was a leak, but we're just gonna look at it and see. So anyway, charge that thing on with some nitrogen. I can still hear my hissing a little bit. My pressures are still dropping, so didn't replace a coil for no reason. Go ahead and grab some I don't know what this is, some purple spray I have in my garage. It was doing a trick, but didn't do the trick, so I'm gonna just go ahead and grab my good stuff, spray that on there, and see if we can see some bubbles, see if we can get some bubble action going on so we can actually confirm and show the leak. So yeah, I always gotta keep my cup. so we can see our bubbles. We're spitting out bubbles, which is a good thing. In our case, we made some money. We diagnosed the problem. I hate that. Well, I try not to do it. We've all been there, but making the wrong diagnosis. But anyway, we diagnosed the right problem, swap that cord out, fix it. So appreciate y'all for hanging in there. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, come back, check me out on the next one. Peace.